Hey everybody, thank you for joining us, A Walk with a Warrior. Our guest this week, Dr. Trei McMullen.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to be here.
7th guest, correct?
Episode number 7.
Episode number 7. For the guys that are following us on our YouTube, we are behind a couple episodes due to weddings and sickness and getting things from an Android to an iPhone, but we are working on it, we promise you.
We're not the best technical right now, but you know what we are? We're the best podcast right now.
That's right, let's go.
That's a great guess.
Let's go.
So this is number 7. We just make sure I said it correctly. Episode 7, Dr. Trei McMullen. Why don't you share with us a little bit about who you are, family-wise, and then we'll get into the meat of this. But
Man, so where do we start? So family-wise, I'm the youngest child of 6. I'm originally from a small place outside of Cleveland, Ohio, called Ashtabula, Ohio.
Okay.
It's not very big. I think the biggest thing we got there is football, like a lot of South states. But
we
we're
have
in the
snow
north.
too.
Oh, we got snow. We got that lake effect snow. I don't miss it at all. I was actually talking to somebody earlier today, and I was like, you know, the one thing I don't miss from elementary school, getting on the bus when it was cold and rainy and feeling that steel on the left and having to sit there when it was cold. But yeah, it was that and walking to school and getting sprayed by, puddles of snow and all that good stuff. Yeah, it was terrible, but here we are. It didn't kill me, so I'm here.
Yeah.
My short bus had heat, so.
You must be right-handed if you felt the cold on the left.
Absolutely. How'd you know?
We've got to protect ourselves.
Absolutely.
So, youngest of 6.
Youngest child of 6. I've got an older brother. He was in the Marine Corps. 2 older brothers. He was in the Marine. My second oldest brother was in the Marine Corps for a stint. We kind of come from that inside of my actual youngest child of the 6th family. That's something that we've been doing. A couple children have went off to the military. They're active duty now. Now I live in this great state of Florida, the free state.
Amen.
I have a wife. Yeah, I have a wife. I have 2 children here. My daughter Isabella, she goes to school down in Tallahassee, and then I have a son. He's 8 years old, so he's goes to school up in Lakewood at a Christian school.
Okay. So I saw FSU will have to allow that, I guess, to happen since you're a state rep when we. Daughter gets or possible state rep. We're going to be rooting for you and cheering for you and getting the word out.
I appreciate that.
And that's we'll get into a little bit about that as we go. Play sports growing up?
Yeah, so I played football. I was a guard, played some offense, and then defense. My dream position was to play defensive end. The coach was like, "You're not fast enough," and I was like, "Coach, just try me. I got it in me. I got that dog in me." And he tried me out for a little bit, and it worked out really good. And I think those went great. That was probably my 7th, 8th, 9th. I didn't play any sports. My 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year, I got really focused in on just working, honestly. You know what I mean? Everybody in my house was working. I was pretty much the only child left in the house. So, helping out with school clothes, helping out with, necessities was a part of the menu. Yeah. Not that I really ever had to get asked. I just enjoy working. I'm an extrovert, so I like to talk to people. I like to be out there, communicate with people. So I found that to be, my happy place. Being out there talking to people, experiencing new things, especially as a young kid. I started working at 15 at Wendy's. And, ever since then, I've been working nonstop. So that's kind of all of what I'm about, working.
Yeah. Well, it looks like you're about 30 years old, so.
37, sir.
So let's get into the military side of your life.
So joined the Army back in 2005, 2006. I left in 2006, delayed entry program in 2005. I already knew what I wanted to do. I knew that, kind of coming where I'm coming from, there was no money for college. I had aspirations of that, but I didn't want my mother and father to have to go into debt. And plus, I just really wanted to serve. I remember 9/11 being in, I'm going to date myself here, don't y'all feel old. When 9/11 happened, I was in 7th grade.
I'm 38, so I'm right there with you.
Okay,
I just look really old.
He just looks a little older than you.
14 months straight of Afghanistan. They take your hairline and put some gray in
you. So I remember that day, and I remember coming home, and I remember kind of everybody outside. They sent us home early, And I walked home, and my mom was sitting at the table, and she was kind of in tears. At this time, my brother was on a Marine rapid deployment unit, and he was getting ready to leave. And he had a couple minutes that I got to talk to him, and he was just like, "Hey, bro, I'll be all right. Love you. See you when I get back." And, you know, watching how the country changed over the course of that year really just pricked my heart. To be able to see all the flags, to just be able to see our nation come together as one. In my lifetime, that was the first time that I'd ever really seen that. It seemed like everybody was a little bit nicer. It seemed like everybody knew about community. You didn't hear any of these political backlashes. Everybody was on the same page, us against them, and I really liked it. So that's why, you know, I joined. So initially joined as a military policeman. That took me to Fort Leonard Wood for 21 weeks. Went out after I graduated there. I went to Germany, K-Town, Kaiserslautern, 18th MP Brigade, 230th MP Company, and man, we called it the Dirty 230. And we had a time. We had a time getting in Germany, 18 years old, fresh off the bus. And the first thing, you know, that was crazy to me is that, hey, you can go to the bar at 18 here. And I was like, so Warrior beer been going around for a long time. So we had a good time out there. We spent about a year before we deployed. And then 07, 09, I did my first 15-month tour to Iraq. That was a really good time. We ended up not losing anybody that tour, but from the wounds that transpired during that tour, we ended up losing 2 guys. And, you know, that was something that was really, talk about, you know, feeling some type of way during deployment. I was on a PSD team. Sergeant Hackerman, rest in peace. I was on his team for a commander's PSD team. I was a young stud, and I used to go to these boards and win them and stuff like that. And they selected me to go to this PSD team. And I was like, I really don't want to go. I've been training up with my platoon for like the last year, and it was kind of last minute, you know, 60 days out. And me and my buddies, you know, we went out, and I was like, you know what? I got into a little bit of trouble, and they kicked me off the PSD team. And I was
that
like,
on purpose?
Yeah, actually, it kind of was.
Like, I can get back to my boys.
It was.
Don't let them know the military secrets.
Yeah, you know, I was like, you know what? It was refreshing to be back in my platoon. So we deployed, and then about 2 months later, there was a crew of young soldiers that came in, and Knapp, Specialist Knapp, he came in, and he replaced me in that team. About 9 months later, that ASV was hit with a 4-array EFP. He lost both of his legs. Sergeant Hack lost both of his legs. The gunner lost a couple fingers. He was sitting in a turret, twisted his foot backwards, lost that foot. And there was a guy in the back, Bewley. Meyer was the guy in the gunner. And he got some shrapnel in his throat protector. And, you know, that bothered me for a long time. Yeah. It sat with me because I felt that it could have been me, or that it was supposed to be me.
Amen.
And, you know, when you're in the military, even though he was a little bit older than me, you call him a kid because he just joined. So no matter the age, he was a kid, right? And, you know, going through that, it really shook me up. And, you know, it took a lot of talking and communicating with my leadership. Actually even talking to Sergeant Hack's wife at the time, Alicia. She's a great friend of me. Still one of my, we mentor each other back and forth. I'm actually going to be speaking out at her college for Veterans Day. But it has just truly unfolded into a great relationship. And I'm just thankful to be able to continue on the legacy of some of these guys, you know, that I went and gave the ultimate sacrifice, and even in a seat where I thought that should have been me. So when I think about veterans, I hear a lot of people talking about veterans and what they do for veterans. No, I'm a real veteran. You know what I mean? Like, I got the full Monty over here. I got the deployments. I got the thoughts. I got the long nights. I got the, you know, the failed relationships. I got it all. And so after that tour, thank God we made it back. Came back, PCS to Fort Benning, which means permanent change of station. I moved my duty 7 to Fort Benning, Georgia. Got there, and what a time it was. As soon as I landed.
What year?
2009.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. So
good old Benning.
Yeah, good old Benning, Columbus, Georgia.
I left for Afghanistan in 09, but I know Benning. So.
Yeah, good old times out of Columbus, Georgia. So got there, And it was like a fresher breath air, a breath of fresh air. Do you see how we?
It could be a breath of fresh air too.
And immediately once I got there, my first sergeant pulled me aside. I had a previous first sergeant, Pedro Guevara, shout out to first sergeant. He had called the incoming first sergeant to let him know he had a good guy coming in. And he said, hey, we want to put you on our SWAT team, which is a special reactions team. And not only that, we want you to try out for this competition, which is called Warfighter. Warfighter for the MPs is basically compatible to the best Ranger competition for Rangers. So did a train up for about 6-7 months of that, running Sunshine Road like it's nobody's business, and Big Mama, Little Mama, going to Airborne schools, all my different schools. I went to everything. And that year, and we ended up placing in the top 5. And during that time, all the sergeant majors around, and they're giving out coins. And one of the sergeant majors said, "What do you want, McMullen?" And I said, "I want to deploy again." I was like, I like to deploy, but I felt like I was living in poverty coming from Germany to Fort Benning, not having cola. I was like, oh, this is tough living out here. And I said, I want to deploy again. And he said, they had a little sergeant major huddle right there. And he said, well, let me figure out who's the next, battalion deploying. So he goes around, he says, right over there, go talk to that sergeant major. He's got something to tell you. And I said, okay. I go over to talk to him, hey, sergeant major, what are you doing? He says, I heard you want to deploy. I said, Roger. He says, well, we're going to take care of you. He says, you're coming to Hawaii. And I was like, look at that. Look at God. Won't he do it? And I was like,
every time.
Okay, great. So we PCS'd pushed us out to Hawaii. Did about a train up for about 10 months. Went to a lot of schools, did a lot of boards, kept doing me, kept leading, trying to set the right example for soldiers. Because I felt that anybody could do this as long as you kept with the same principles. Right time, right uniform, show up and act like you care. So that was...
Imagine those principles.
Oh, man. If we...
And they still can't do it.
Still can't do it. Got to go knock on doors. Formation 615 and 605. Jeez.
705. We've been knocking for 50 minutes.
So that was a good time. We deployed to Afghanistan. Had a great trip out there.
What years were you in Afghanistan?
11, 12.
11, 12. So I had just left. I left November 20th, 2010.
I just missed
So
you.
I was a Mark 19 gunner. We were the 32nd Transportation Unit that built Leatherneck for the Marines.
Okay.
So we were the ones out of Bagram, went to Jalalabad,
Got it.
about KG Valley, went all over. Our unit did about 800,000 miles in 14 months collectively, over 176 guys.
It's a lot of road time. People don't realize how much at risk you were.
Oh, but we said all the TTPs, all that for ground travel through MRAPs, PLSs, all that.
Yeah.
Our unit said anything after 09 was what we created on the road and what we decided was the right way to do it.
God bless you.
We had one of the biggest lines of convoy that ever hit any road in Afghanistan to this date.
That's amazing.
I mean, of course, we're not over there trooping down roads anymore,
No.
unfortunately. 'cause
We're
I
over
go
there.
back.
We're just not trooping
We're
around.
small. We're just not trooping around roads. But that tour was a good tour. Got put on another PS team for Colonel Gil Martin. Did that for about 6 months, and I really, really wanted to go back to my platoon. I had trained up again with these guys, and I missed my platoon. You know what I mean? The camaraderie that you build with the platoon is just
Through training.
through training.
Yeah, that's
And just
for the non-military people.
yeah,
out there.
through training. The barracks, the barbecues.
That's right. Civilian day.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Mandatory fun.
Never forget when you're serving with a bunch of soldiers and you've been friends for years, but you've never seen them in a civilian outfit.
Never.
The first time you get to see somebody that's been yelling at you for 3 years, and
Yeah.
he dresses like a golf guy, and he comes in.
Or the guy that dresses like, oh
We
wow.
It's the funniest thing in the world, by the way.
So cowboy boots and cowboy hats and
For
Oh,
sure.
you get everything. I mean, you
Personality
gotta,
definitely comes
when
out.
you think about the military is the only job you're going to have where everybody in each position is from a different state and different city, and they have a different upbringing and a different way of life, and you just get a bunch of hard-headed 18, 19-year-old men together that think they're all Superman when in reality they're probably, super dude
Well, they were a lot more Superman-y back then than they are now.
I got to caveat some women because I had some hard chargers.
Touche.
I had some hard chargers, put them on a 240 or whatever, back when I was MP.
Shout out Heather Dry. She was one of our gunners in
Yeah.
Afghanistan, and she is still
They're
a badass
tough.
to this day. Love you.
Still tough. I know a lot of them, you know what I mean, that are getting after it. That tour taught me so much about myself. It gave me poise in the leadership role because we went through some heavy things out there. And being able to, this was my first trip as a leader and not as a soldier.
Yeah.
So, when your first trip as a leader, you feel a little different about the men and women around you. And, they're more so, instead of brothers and sisters, they're like your children.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You look at them different. And, I see why so many, great men and women have come before us and, almost given the biggest sacrifice because we're trying to keep each other alive. And that may come at the cost of your life. And, that's something that I would do any day for any one of you. And that still rolls on as we get out, which is a pleasure. A lot of people ask me, hey man, what do you feel about racism? Listen, man, I come from a place where that doesn't exist. And if you came in the front door that way, I promise you, you're not leaving out the back door that way.
Amen.
So,
Well, that's something that's not in the Bible either, so that's something that man created.
Absolutely. Which is
Fear
tragic.
created racism.
Well,
Fear creates hate.
Fear created, there was a man that created it when it all started. There was a hierarchy that he tried to set, but he wasn't a faith guy. And we know biblically that we were all created equal to serve a purpose under his own love for us. So we got to figure out how to get out of that. And I think the more and more we discuss it, the more and more we talk about it, and we live as brothers and sisters in God's light,
Absolutely.
that it'll go away. Those people will go away.
I'm a PK, so preacher's kid.
All right, I
Me
thought
too,
you were a
brother.
place kicker, but you said
Me
you're
too.
defensive end.
So, I grew up not being able to go to the movies, not being able to dress up for Halloween, not being able to even go to the skating rink, movie theater, none of that.
I wasn't that type.
So you're a preacher's kid too, but
I was the
So
one
look,
that got in trouble.
well, the Halloween thing, I was thinking about it today. I was like, I'm gonna put some pumpkins out here. We're gonna be festive. It's getting cold out or whatever. And I was like, but you know what? Is that Halloween or is it just fall or whatever? And then I started, well, what is Halloween really about?
Yeah.
Right? And then your people started.
My people.
It was an Irish thing. It was a Celtic thing. That was at the end of the harvest season, right, going into the winter season, and it was to ward off spirits. They believed that the spirits would raise up, so they would put on costumes to ward off the spirits, so that the next year they would have a harvest again.
And by the way,
Yeah,
Halloween costumes back in the day were way scarier than today's costumes.
You really had to go out and you had to make a costume.
you
There
gotta
was
make a
no
costume.
going to go to Walmart.
You had
and
your
pick out-
aunt like sewing seed
Moms,
bags
yeah.
together with like cowhide. No,
Yeah.
I don't want nothing to do with your
The
children.
Jason knife really had blood on it.
Oh yeah,
It wasn't
Right.
plastic back then.
Nope.
It was like, don't hurt anybody with this.
Yeah.
No, I won't, Mom.
So your military career, you got through
Got through that,
Afghanistan.
got through that deployment, came back. And while I was down there, I was looking around I was a staff sergeant. I was about to get promoted to staff sergeant. And actually, my late platoon sergeant, shout out Sergeant Whitehouse, he told me, he was like, the reason I didn't send you to the board is because he was like, I needed you as a squad leader out there. He's like, I'm sorry, I would have knew I would have lost you if you'd have got promoted. And I was like, it's all right. He passed away, unfortunately, about 4 months ago. It was tragic, but got back and, I started looking around at some of my superiors and they weren't landing where I wanted to land once I got out,
Yeah.
if this part of my life was over. So I switched my job to counterintelligence. I said, this sounds like something that is really interesting to me. I'm an extrovert. I like to talk to people. I like to get out there, do surveillance, run sources, and do things like that. That's what it turned out to be. So went to Fort Huachuca, another 20 weeks out there, and that brought me to 7th Group. So I got to Florida, 2nd Battalion, 7th Special Forces Group, November 17th, 2013. And that was a culture shock. Coming from, the traditional Army, I really, really thrived there because I like the ability for soldiers to be great in a different way. And I found it to be somewhat higher tempo, and the missions were realer. So I really, really liked it that.
No waste of time.
No waste of time.
No waste of time.
No waste of time. You know, everything was standards and discipline, big boy, big girl world. You know, you get out there, you do PT, you do it on your own, you make sure you show up right uniform, right time, do what you gotta do. Don't make nobody find you short. Had a great time doing that. Well, these deployments started catching up with me, and I started getting some gut problems. And I developed ulcerative colitis. So during my exposures, during these deployments, I must have inhaled something from burn vehicles, all the different stuff that we inhaled, and burn pits and stuff like that. And I developed this GI issue. I don't call it a bad thing because, you know, I call them God's blinkers. Because that let me know that there was work for me to do over there with that community. So once I got out, I went through what, you know, everybody else goes through. Super stud and all that stuff doesn't matter. The last day you punch that clock is the last day you're invited to the barbecue.
That's right.
And that loneliness that you feel when they hand you that ETS award and that plaque or whatever it may be is something incomparable that I have never felt again. You know, because you're around this family and hey, this is your last day and the machine goes rolling on. And it's what we did to everybody else. You know, they come and they go and, you know, you just got to keep soldiering. And, you know, life's busy. It's, hey, I'll see you in the funny pages on Facebook or whatever. And that's it. And, you know, it was lonely. It was a lonely time.
So I think that,
And you were the last year of 11, 12, 13, I believe, was when they shut down the burn towers.
Yes.
We were big in it 09, 10, because I'm actually battling that with my 100% because I want to be in the burn registry.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you knew boardroom back then, 09, 10, it was right there next to the, I mean, and if you got in trouble like I did, you were probably over there throwing trash in it, you know what I mean? So, but that's a big thing, like a lot of underlining issues with the guys that are, you know, from that 06 to 13 range in Afghanistan, where we were overpiled with stuff to get rid of. You know, that's boardroom was at its biggest in 09, and it grew into being, I mean, boardroom, you know, and
even in Kandahar.
Yeah, Kandahar, we, you know, after building Leatherneck and seeing it from nothing to something, and going there on missions, you know, take a couple days, sometimes a week, and you know, a lot of people don't know this about Afghanistan. You go north, it's the snowy mountains. You're in the snow, you're, you know, 2 foot in snow, having to unload. You know, we did a lot of transportation, so having to unload vehicles through tunnels and all that. But you go south, it's 115 degrees. You know, like it's hotter than you've ever been. And
most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen almost.
Absolutely, in the mountains, dude. The mountains in Afghanistan are just breathtaking. I came across some photos a few weeks ago, me 18, 19 years old, standing in front of them with a cigarette, and I was like, man, what I'd give to have hair again, you know?
So when you got back.
Switched my job, went CI, brought me to 7th Group, got medically retired, went through, you know, the goulash that everybody goes through, looking for jobs. I was applying for probably 100 jobs a day, you know, and falling asleep with my phone on me, my wife getting hey, can we go to sleep? Will you go to sleep? Hey, this weight's on me. And, you know, the weight's on you. You know, you come from something and you're this guy and you got this career, and people don't realize how heavy that is because they're not saying it, but they're looking to you to lead. Now it's time for you to leave your tribe. And they're looking for you to be successful. They're looking for you to do whatever it may be. But honestly, I think one of the biggest things is we put that pressure on ourselves because nobody actually is asking you for you to go out there and be great. We've just set such a high bar for ourselves that we feel this is where we have to meet it, and this is how I get there. So applied for a whole bunch of jobs. So our major happened to reach out to me after about 2-3 weeks. He says, what's going on, Mike? And I said, Sergeant Major, I'm applying for tons of jobs. I just can't, I don't know. Either they're telling me I'm overqualified or underqualified. I said, I got people telling me I'm underqualified, and I'm like, well, where were you at during your 19th, 20th, 25th, 26th, birthday? Where were you at when, how do you tell me I don't have any real world experience?
Right.
Now, as a young man, that's not what you want to hear. As a 37-year-old, I get what they were talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean? I understand what you mean now in the civilian world, and it is different. You know what I mean? So I'm really working, just like you, to really help a lot of our brothers and sisters as they transition. Understand that. You know what I mean? Like, listen, you're going to go through a time and space where you're going to feel alone, even if I'm here in your ear every day. You're going to miss where you come from. You're going to miss your brothers and sisters that you serve with. You're just going to miss the uniform.
That's what I was about to literally say is our job now is to give them a new uniform.
Absolutely.
Like our OTB shirts we wear for Operation Tackle Box, if I can put it on you and say, hey, give this guy some help and give them the tools to go stand in my position as a leader and be another leader to help their guys again.
Yeah.
Repurposing your purpose.
Absolutely.
Trusting, repurposing your purpose. Like, God put you there to serve, you got out, you're moving on. Guess what? If you're struggling, go give without the intent receiving. It's easy to be a good man, but it's easy to be a bad man.
Yeah.
But if you want to challenge, be a good one.
I like that.
And with that comes holding that responsibility as if you're serving your other brothers and sisters that are from that military background, it's your job to first put them in a new uniform.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a mental uniform that now that they get to wake up and say, hey, I'm a part of this organization, or I'm a part of this mission, or I'm a part of a singular another man's mission.
Absolutely.
Having that brother next to you, the battle buddy.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
It all starts with the battle buddy, but you got another 6 guys on your team, but can't go nowhere without a battle buddy. It all goes back down to the basics of basics,
Absolutely. I like that.
Absolutely, yes, sir. Dude, I see I looked at your story yesterday when Gary sent me your information, tagged you down on a few things.
Yeah.
I was like, man, what a driven dude. Like, what a guy that took something that would break most men and build a castle out of it so he could see every man from the top.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing, man. And we,
Truly appreciate
other guys like me that are combat veterans and non-combat veterans or non-veterans, we see it, and we're honored to have you on the show, man. Keep doing what you're doing for sure.
Likewise, brother.
So,
It's an honor to be here, especially be surrounded around good company. You know what I mean? You guys look great out there tonight.
Yeah, we got a crowd. I mean, it's cold out. I wish somebody throw a fire on around here.
Hey, I'll be right back. I have got to go to the bathroom.
There you go, brother.
All right, well,
Y'all keep rolling.
Jacob's feminine issues are showing up.
Ladies on.
So a question for you, because in my past life I was a builder developer, and then I started a couple companies where I just focused on putting vets back to work.
Absolutely.
So combat to impact energy services and professional services. And the goal for me was like, how can I help these guys when they come back take their skill set and transition?
Absolutely.
And I think that's the toughest part is civilians don't know the acronyms.
No.
And military don't know how to define what they're able to do through their training, which you said was extensive,
Yeah.
through their work ethic. I mean, because me as an employer, I wanted somebody that was coming and willing to work.
Yeah.
They may not needed to know everything that I was wanting,
Yep.
but if their willingness was there, we could get them past that point.
Absolutely.
Where is the failure, you think, in the transition?
That's a good question. I would say maybe it's twofold. One problem is, I can't say it's a problem, but it's an issue. And I've seen it in many different situations. I never personally went through this, or at least not that I know of. But I know there's a lot of soldiers that when they're getting out, their leadership kind of turns their back on them. It's like, hey, you gave up the fight. You're not with us anymore. They kind of push you to the side, and it's not necessarily a good thing or a good feeling. Like, oh, they're giving you time to transition out. Not necessarily. They stop looking at you kind of as if you're no longer in the fight.
Right.
You're in
Not
the
an asset.
Yeah. So I would say that's step one. We need to, as military members that are active duty, we need to be there for those soldiers, even when they're transitioning out. We don't need to look at them as shitbags. We don't need to look at them as, hey, you're not here anymore. while you're in, you think your body is a machine, and because that's what we need you to think. But when you transition out, you realize that it's not. And I get it, that you're hyper-focused on the mission, and that I'm going through something. This is really, majority of the time, something that leaders themselves have not experienced because they were stayed in.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually don't know what it's like to get out. So they don't know how to treat you until it's their turn.
Right.
And then they usually feel a little bad, like, man, maybe I could have been a little better. You know, I didn't know what I was going through.
They teach you there's no I in team until it's just you,
Yeah.
because you can't be a part of the team anymore.
Yeah.
And then you get stuck on being just you.
Just you.
And the whole time they're like, there's no I in team, you got to be a team. And then as soon as you decide to step away from that team or step away from that position, it's just I again. It's just you. It's just you by yourself. There's nothing left. And even the guys that, you know, there's probably 1 out of 10 guys you'll serve next to that is going to stay in contact with you after you leave the service, right?
Yeah.
Those 9 other guys of that 10 you thought were, and at the time they would take a bullet, they would pull you out of, you know, incoming fire, whatever it might be. When that time comes for you to step away from that team, subconsciously they know, like, okay, you're not going to be on that next mission. My focus needs to be the other 9.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, some guys take it and they learn from it, and they take going back to, you know, the no I in team and standing by themselves to creating another team like you're doing in your journey now as a civilian, and I'm doing as a civilian.
Yeah.
But, you know, you get your whole time in the service is serving who's to the left and right of you, no matter where they're from, what they look like, their gender, no matter what it is, right? That's your job. When you get out, you go to being next to people that are not a part of that mission. They don't understand the teamwork. They don't understand the no argument. There's this is how it is. This is the law, and this is what you should do. When you transfer from the law to law breaking, the civilian side of things, where everything is easily obtained and broken, right? It's chaos for guys like us, because everything's dress right dress. Roll your shirts, you know, right uniform. It's got to be, each thing that goes on your uniform has to come down to an 1/8 or a 1/16 of an inch.
Absolutely.
Measured perfectly.
Attention to details.
The attention to detail and discipline's the key. So for going from everything that you wear being measured to that specific number to nothing being measured is chaos for guys, because unfortunately some people like being told what to do and like being led, and that's why the military works.
Yeah.
Because 7 out of the 10 soldiers need to be told when to wake up. So the rest of the 10 are either going to go tier or go something that involves them putting a packet in and being a better version of themselves, you know? And those are the ones that really get hurt the most when they get out, because they gave so much of the bottom of their soul and their last tear and their last breath to become that version of themselves through the military, that when they get out or they get hurt and they get out, they go to no standard, from the highest standard to no standard. And it's a killer, you know.
Well, I think, you know, the other part that I see about that, and maybe this is going to be the civilian and the guy who owned the business that put vets back to work, and realized that some of them just didn't honor themselves enough.
Yeah, and
And so there's part of this is like, when you come out, you have to know what you want.
Yeah.
You know, so when you do separate from a team, and that was, you know, were you using that team to allow yourself to be a little bit weaker at moments? Did you allow leadership to tell you exactly what you had to do because you weren't willing to step outside of yourself? Because as I thought I was going to help veterans be better for themselves, I realized that they were the ones, some of them, not all of them, but they wouldn't give me 100%.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out
a lot of veterans can't give you 100% because, unfortunately, the government took about 50% of that. You
Well,
know,
again,
and it takes guys like him, you know, and you as a civilian leader to give them that back 50%. And it struggles, like we've talked about this on even me running a nonprofit. It is so hard to get support, even from veterans that damn well know that they need the help and that their friends need the help. but they still can't support it. Like we were talking about earlier, I might invite 10 guys for a trip that's fully paid for, right? 3 of them will only show up. 7 of them will call the day before and back out because they're not ready to take that step to get uncomfortable again, to get in that position of healing. Vulnerability, you know, uncomfortable conversations make great friendships. Yeah. And it's
100%.
It comes all down to that. It comes down from somebody getting told that they're the baddest mamma jamma walking the streets to going back home to telling somebody that you was that, and they're like, all right, cool guy. You know, like I work at a Toyota dealership selling cars. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
You know, you start talking about an MRAP or a Mark 19, I talk to you about that all day, you know, but you talked about me about a 24 Camry, you've done lost my, I'm actually getting pissed off that you're even talking to me about that right now, you know what I mean? Like what is this? So,
but when you came, because you said that you were leadership when you came
yeah.
out. So do you think that when you transition out, you did the best job leaving your unit, leaving your boys, and then knowing that in a leadership position, when you were out, you were going to look for the leadership that was above you or at least equal to you to help you kind of navigate the next steps, and they weren't there?
I would say when we get out, kind of to piggyback off a little what you both said, the second problem is when we get out, we're so used to boundaries and like, hey, these are your options, A, B, and C. When you get out, you have A to Z, and that is very broad. It's like, oh man, I have 52 different options. I'm so used to only having, if I have an option, you know, maybe 1, 2, 3 max. So, you know, all the different resources, all the great nonprofits, all the organizations that are out there, it's so many, it's a phone book.
Yeah.
And it takes so much time to sort through it. A lot of guys and gals, they give up because somewhere along there, somebody probably put a bad taste in their mouth.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people that prey on the veteran community that actually don't care about the veteran
100%.
community. When I started my nonprofit, that was one of the things that I noticed, which to say there's nothing wrong with this, but I do believe if you have a veteran organization that's strictly about veterans or first responders, you need that your leadership need to reflect that.
Oh yeah.
And every place didn't reflect that, so I think there's a gap there. But those receiving arms when you get out weren't so receiving. So I would say, and that's, you know, the problem is, you know, there's people out here that just say, hey, you're just in the military, I don't care. You know, and then you got great people like yourself that are saying, hey, I want to hire veterans. And then they go hire some veterans, and some of those veterans put a bad taste in their mouth. And now they're shying away from them because they're like, oh, well, that's not what I thought it was. But little do they know, that might not have been the best out the litter. Which,
But that's, again, because you were still dealing with people to people to people.
Absolutely.
You know, I had a guy who was a master electrician, and, you know, I needed that as part of the crew to oversee what we're doing because we did these big lighting projects.
yeah.
He came in, gave me the whole bill of goods. You know, 2 weeks into the job, he steals the security guy's Segway, and he's running through the garage, you know, having everybody laugh at him. I'm like, you're the guy that's supposed to be in charge and help these guys understand what we're doing here.
Absolutely.
You know, so you got to go. You know, like,
Absolutely.
not dealing with this.
Standards and discipline.
To take you back on the nonprofit thing, getting out and getting taken advantage of, I feel that tremendously.
Yeah.
I'm founder and president of my nonprofit, and we are combat specific.
Yeah.
So I don't help all veterans.
Yeah.
Like, if you did 30 years, you never saw combat, you never went overseas, like, appreciate your service, we'll get you the help you need, but it's not gonna be through Operation Tackle Box.
Yeah.
As far as I know, there are very under 10 that I know that are combat specific, ran by 100% medically retired combat guys for other combat guys.
Not that
And I'm very huge on that because I think that that matters. And when I came home to get help, getting put in the category of others that never been through the things I've been through, or sat on the trucks I sat on and did the miles I did, and I'm getting the same advice for their troubles.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
No.
So, and I couldn't find that, and then I went, like you said, your dad's preacher, mine is too. My mom was a Sunday school teacher.
Same.
I went to them, I said, hey, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I want to start a nonprofit helping guys and girls that are like me.
Yeah.
And here we are a decade later with over 3,000 veterans served, and none of us get paid. None of us, it's all, you donate $100, you get to see where the $100 goes. I mean, that's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And because I got taken advantage of, and I went to these places where I was told that I'm just some washed up, PTSD'd out dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not.
No.
I matter, in my opinion, I matter more outside the military than I did in the military.
Yeah.
Because when I was in, I was just doing my job.
Absolutely.
I'm out here trying to survive now, and I matter more because of that.
And you're saving lives.
And we're trying to save lives, absolutely. And I've had guys, if I do this and serve 1 million soldiers, and I have one guy say, "Hey, you saved my life. I did my job."
I did my job.
And I can cap out tomorrow because I've had a guy. Oh, Danny, if you're watching, he loves this. Love my boy Danny. He came to me. He went through some battles. He says, "Jacob, you saved my life," and that's all I need.
Yeah.
I'll shut down tomorrow, and I know that I did something for the Lord.
Absolutely.
I know I did my job as a disciple, as somebody that cares, and as somebody that wants to see that person next to me at them gates.
Definitely.
And it's very hard to come across true people like that. When I met Gary, I knew Gary had a mission.
Yeah.
He's like me. He's got a million ideas, but he's got a mission. And I saw the mission in Gary, and I support it. The only reason I'm on this, I don't know anybody nothing.
Absolutely.
And if I owe you something, comment below, because I don't. And that's it. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I don't owe Gary nothing. I don't owe you nothing.
Yeah.
But what I do owe is the duty by God to spread the gospel.
Yeah.
Whether the gospel's through combat, through veteran stories, through his life and how he's became who he is today, whatever it might be, I know that's why I'm sitting up here.
Absolutely.
Is to let people know that there's second and third chances.
Absolutely.
No one's ever said it's not okay to be not okay. If you're not okay, no one's coming up and saying, "Why are you not okay?" You know what I mean? Like you can't be. You got to be okay. It's not a thing. We're here to reinsure each other as a brotherhood of God.
Yeah.
That no matter what the trials and tribulations are, that we stand tall, we stand tight next to each other. And that is our mission now. A new uniform, whether it's a uniform of God or whether it's a uniform that we choose to put on every day. And with that uniform comes that mission.
Absolutely.
This might be your new uniform, right?
It feels like it, every day.
Yeah. Amen.
Going out here and, trying to be a better man every day. The flesh is weak, you know what I mean? So,
Amen.
I think this is something that a lot of men and women that I've ran into that have transitioned out the Army in all branches, they go through. And more so, I love to see when veterans partner with other people that weren't in the military, and they're the good one. Because that means, hey man, you're getting a good slice of bread.
Yeah.
And usually those guys and gals' hearts are more open for people like me. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate, being able to sit here and do that. But I'm interested how that conversation ended with the guy on the Segway.
Well, he laughed.
Yeah.
And I said,
lessons got to be taught. You know what I mean? So
I said, if I was the person I was before, your ass would have been beaten right in front of everybody.
yeah.
But me as a businessman had to treat it. But again, I had to set the example,
Exactly.
right? Because that's the main thing. Let me ask you, because as a business guy who wants to continue, I try to bless everybody.
Absolutely.
But I know the strengths and the struggles, and I also realize that there's a lot of veterans that play off of the 4% or so that were actually combat vets.
Yeah.
So there's understanding. In my company, I had a ranger that was my HR guy.
Yeah.
And he was badass. He weighed about 95 pounds, and I'd put him up against anybody. But he was able to read through the DD-214 and then be able to speak the language that I couldn't speak, that you all speak. Because I wanted a good team. Because nobody worked for me. They worked with me, and they were my family.
Absolutely.
So I didn't just take them on, I took every part about them on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so I wanted to make sure and again, I wanted to honor the work that we were doing. We had a mission. We were the labor side of installing these huge projects. That's how I got to this area. I did the Tanger outlet in Foley. We did like 40 of the Tanger outlets.
Yeah.
Which was a mini projects. Because we're going to get you to this state rep position.
Oh yeah, we having a good
And
time.
what I would like to see happen from a civilian that wants to hire veterans is that we need to push for some kind of program that is government initiated, that when your service is done and on the transition out, there's a 3-month or 6-month program to help integration. Because us as civilians running companies that want to hire, we can only learn so much about what we need.
Absolutely.
Right? And we know we could take your skill set, but if you're not willing to understand your skill set against what we're asking you to do, and I think that's, if they're gonna put all this training in you to make you the best soldier, best teammate, why can't they do the same to be the best individual person when you come out to work in this civilian world?
So those are some very, I like what you said there. So I would say there are some programs out there, TAPS, ACAP when I was getting out, that's a program that you got to go through when you're transitioning out. The problem with that, the problem with the mindset of a soldier and that course is, I'm getting out and I'm having to go to this mandatory training, and it's very dry. It's not fun. A lot of the stuff that you're going through is not what you're used to. And if it resembles anything, it resembles mandatory training, which is not a soldier's favorite thing to do. So I would say, and the crazy thing is, there is those type of programs for officers. Enlisted really don't get those programs.
Right.
And I'm talking E1, E9, you know what I'm saying? But on the officer side, they do get those transitional programs.
Oh, one up.
Where they come and,
Right.
They partner you with, specifically, with agencies that want to hire you, so forth and so on. So I would like to see, the officers program be military-wide, and they put that much care into all soldiers. And also, when they hand you that DD-214, hand me a copy that is built for civilian explanation.
That's what I want you to shoot to help. Because if I understood your skill set in the relationship, because you can come and share with me what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to believe 100% because I'm a giver. So I'm going to take you for your word.
Yeah.
Because I can't read what you went through.
Yeah.
Your missions,
Yeah.
your teams. So you're going to be able to oversell yourself maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
So I made sure I put somebody in charge to do that. But my heart was like, I'm going to give you a job and an opportunity to go earn for your family.
Yeah.
Because I see there's some brokenness when you got out, or somebody let you down when you got out.
Absolutely.
Some job let you down.
And a big thing with that too, on the success rate of that, is that the military trains you to be a soldier doing military things. And in the civilian world, there's not really none of that. Outside of being a police officer or working for the government, or like we were talking about earlier, doing bounty hunting stuff. You're getting trained in a certain task, and most of those tasks are, barrel down range type of deal. You're getting trained to be a soldier, go defend your country. So you could do 10 years as a troop and an infantryman, right? You'll get taught how to be a leader if you get in those E6, E7 positions. You'll learn from that. That'll apply over to your civilian life. Everything outside of that is going to be
Incompatible.
it's not compatible. Yeah, so you're hiring a guy with 10% of what he just came from in a leader position. 90% of what he came from was engaging the enemy and
Right.
being taught how to fight. So there's a very balance there. You've got to understand, okay, he's going to give me about 10% of this until we can train him how to replace those thought process into the 90% that he can be. Because all of us transition out and be anything you want to be. I mean, J.D. Vance, Vice President now, Marine Corps. You know what I'm saying? He took the steps above.
But he
and
also
beyond
went to
his
school.
service.
He went to school, and
Right,
afterwards
and
he started to.
I went for 6, almost 7 years. Went to college on my GI Bill. I mean, you've got to apply yourself.
Yeah,
you've got to.
So they have to take
thing
ownership of it too.
Yes,
then.
they're going to give you the tools that you need to adapt and overcome anything outside of the military. It is up to you to adapt to that and then overcome it as a civilian now. And they give you the tools. They give you the disability. Yeah, you're going to have to fight for it. You're going to have to earn it. You had to earn it. And they're going to give you another, $2,700 a month for the GI Bill on top of that to go to school full time.
Yep.
They're there.
Yeah.
If the guys that are out here that are struggling and that are begging for a penny or doing any of this, that's a self-choice. Because if they went through the things that they went through, they would have the proof on the table today. They would have shelter over their head. They would, and there are a lot that don't have somebody to help them, and that's where we come in, or you come in. Introducing them to people that know how to get their benefits, that know how to get their disabilities, their GI Bill. There is help there. It always comes back. If you're not willing to help yourself, who is the next person in line that's supposed to help you? Right. It takes you as a person to take that first step to go into politics or chase your dreams. It took you doing that. It didn't take your 6 other brothers, family members. Yeah. You took action at 15 and started working. You took action when you went in the military, and now you're taking action following politics. Yeah. The opportunity is there for us. So, I feel bad that for the people that think that they can't get the help, but I don't feel bad for anybody out there.
So I think we got a lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
So you have time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what I want to do is we're going to transition. This is going to be part 1.
All right.
Okay? We'll talk a little bit more about military as we walk forward.
Take a little hour break right here in a minute. We'll take a little break.
We're going to take a break. We're going to go refill our beers, and we're going to come back, and then
let's talk about after the military.
We're going to talk about after the military, but more importantly, he's in the state of Florida that I live in and I have a business in, and I want to do great things in. So we got a lot more forward to this, and we're going to get to the ultimate part, and that's our faith.
Absolutely.
And why we're doing this as a whole.
Amen.
So we're going to take a break. We're going to go get some beer, and we're going to be right back.
Be back at 5.
Welcome back. This is going to be part 2 with Dr. Trei McMullen, and we're going to get into post-military life.
Post-military life.
So,
Man, post-military life, where do I start?
And I need you to talk a little bit louder in the mic.
All right, here we go.
They're so timid.
Can you hear me better
This
now?
introvert that says he's an extrovert won't even talk into my mic. But
Can you hear me better now? So
can you hear me?
Jake from State Farm. But
USA.
Yeah. So I got out 2015. Like I said, I was going through the transition. Sergeant Major called me up. Hey, I'm struggling, Sergeant Major. I don't know. I'm not. And they're saying I'm overqualified for this. I'm underqualified for that. And I understood it now. I didn't understand it then. I was very furious. So if you find yourself getting out and you run into one of those situations where somebody's telling you, hey, you're overqualified or you're underqualified, maybe it's about how your resume is presented. Maybe it's about you just don't have enough civilian life experience. So a lot of people they're iffy on taking a chance on that. Yeah. So I think with that call that he gave me, I told him, I said, I'm struggling on finding a job. He says, what do you want to do? I said, you know what I want to do? I want to deploy. And he says, all right, I'm going to make a phone call. So he made a phone call to, at that time, it was Academy. Academy used to be Blackwater. And there was a TS program called Condor program. And I went out, did all the training and stuff like that, went out to Moyoc and did all that cool stuff, and found myself on this program for 5 years doing 60 to 90-day deployments. During that 5 years, I grew so much as a man because with my ulcerative colitis, I had to get an infusion every 7 weeks. Well, eventually, you were able to go to 60s, which was like the contractor dream. Like, oh, doing 60s, come back for 30, 45, go back out for another 60. It's almost like you ain't got to unpack. It was beautiful. But for the first year, you got to do 88s. So I was like, okay, this sounds good. And, my doctor says, you're crazy. And I said, listen, doc, just give me what I need to be able to make it. I got to be able to provide for my family. There's nobody coming to save me. That is one of my biggest guiding lights is no one's coming to save me.
Yeah, but your wife is 100% supportive of you.
Yes, and she is supportive of me, but there was the changes and the things that I was going through were even new to her.
Okay.
And she didn't necessarily know how do you fix Superman when he doesn't have a cape anymore? You know what I mean? How do you make him feel better when the one thing he's missing, I can't provide him? So there was a little bit of her being lost in this transition at the beginning as well, because everything he wants, I can't give him.
Mm-hmm.
He misses his brothers and sisters. He misses the camaraderie. He misses that feeling. He misses this thing. And, you know, that was very challenging. So going through all that, doing the deployments, 88s, well, my infusion is every 7 weeks, so I'm coming back after like probably that first year. I was able, because my doctor was giving me medicine to be able to last. After that first year, that second year is where he was like, nope, not giving you no more. He's like, you're killing yourself. And I was like, all right, well, it is what it is. I'm gonna go over here, and if I die in the combat zone, I'm happy with that. I can live with that. My family knows this is what I do. It's for God and country, and, you know, so be it. You know, and I still feel the same way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here to serve, you know, and if there's always a greater purpose, you know, no greater calling than to lay your life down for your brother.
Amen.
Serve and protect.
It's on the back of my truck over there, John 15:13.
Absolutely. So that resonates extremely high with me. So every time I would come back, that second year and beyond, I was having to go, we would land, and I would literally go straight to Eglin Air Force Base to get a blood transfusion. I'd be in the hospital for 2 to 3 days. We wouldn't even tell the kids we were coming home. And I did that for 3 years.
Till after.
Yeah, I did that. I did
Spend
that.
about a week here, then,
Yeah.
you know, hey, I'm back.
Yeah, it would be, you know, 3 days getting a blood, 2-3 days, you know, blood transfusion, and then, hey, you know, 30, 45 days, get back up, nursing myself back to life, and getting back out there. When I had a security company at the same time, my high school, my senior year, my parents lost our house. And I told myself I would never use credit because that was a really difficult time for me to go through that. And luckily it didn't actually transpire until actually I ended up leaving for basic training. But I never wanted to experience that. I felt I was like, man, I'm the youngest child of 6. I thought I was supposed to get all the good stuff. No, I got the foreclosures. I got all the short end of the stick, I felt like a little bit. And one thing I did know was if I go make money, cash, I could put that into my business. So I wasn't very big on living outside of my means. I was big on how much can I make and how much can I provide. So I fronted my payrolls for those first 5 years that I had my security company, doing it myself the hard way. I never took a bank loan, never got a lot of credit, never had an investor. Sciotus LLC, this is our decade year. I've never taken any money from anybody, 100% of it. And we've been able to achieve some great things. We've had one of the largest federal contracts in Florida history. We employed over 130 teammates because I don't have employees. You know, we work together. You work with me, not for me.
Yeah.
My mantra is never above you, never below you, always beside you.
Mm-hmm.
So, you
One
know,
team, one fight.
absolutely. You know, I wanted people to know that, and it wasn't just like, hey, I'm this owner way far away. No, I was there every day, boots on ground, working shifts. When we needed people, I worked it. You know, down in Tallahassee, because that's where the hub was. All these, you know, executives would walk in, and maybe I had a guy or girl that couldn't be there, and I'd be sitting at the desk in uniform. Meeting starts, I'd have one of my supervisors come, hey, I need you to switch out for me for an hour. I'd go in the bathroom, put a suit on, and go in the meeting, and they'd all be looking at me like, weren't you the guy that was just sitting out there? And I'd be like, yeah, nobody's gonna work harder for me than my dreams.
That's right.
So I knew what it was gonna take. I knew that, you know, hey, this is the and there was, even when you get that big opportunity, you don't know what you don't know. I remember the federal government being like, hey, are you gonna invoice us? And I was like, oh, snaps. I forgot about that.
I might need to do that to pay this
All
guy.
I knew was get boots on ground, set up operation, get my S channels, set up my leadership, set up a sleep rotation, and start moving forward. So that's what I did, because that's all that I've been programmed to do. I said, I know how to lead. I know how to set up something from ground zero. Let's do it.
Yep.
So that was the easy part for me. The part that was hard or what was different was the actual business side of it.
Right.
And then I started laying on, you know, my mentors. I'm big on mentors. You know, I don't have any really friends my age. Everybody that I hang out with is older than me. I enjoy
As it should be, I think. My grandfather said if you're the one doing all the talking, you're not the smartest man in the room.
And you never want to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if you're the smartest man at the table, you're at the wrong table.
Exactly. It's time to
keep moving.
Because how can you help people that are dependent on you to get them there if you don't continue on to push yourself? And sometimes that's a lonely road, being the guy that's, saying, hey, I'll be right back. You go over there and be like, all right, I figured it out. And you're the guy that's lifting them up. All right, lift everybody else up.
Right.
It's sometimes a very lonely and isolated road, and nobody understands it. Nobody follows you until it pops.
Well, entrepreneurism is that in a whole. Like,
absolutely.
You're doing things and people are looking at you like you're the craziest person that they ever met.
Is that what brought you into your position now? Is from these, struggles getting out of the military, to become your position where you're at now politically? I mean, is that what pushed you, or was it something outside of the military that later in life changed your role as a leader to be put in a leadership position again?
Honestly, I felt like I'm a student of life, and I enjoy constantly learning and putting myself in difficult spaces. Being able to go in, lead a district was something that at once upon a time I thought it may be too big. But after years in the business and developing the masses, I realized that I think most people just want the same thing. They want to be their kids to go to a safe school. They want to feel like they're safe. They want to be able to have a job. They want those children that are graduating from college or wherever in high school to be able to find a job in their locale and to be able to raise a family. As a business owner, I was experiencing so many people that had to leave. I was experiencing so many people that I employ a lot of people that are older than me, and listening to their struggles. What happened? How'd you get here?
Right.
And luckily we're one of the highest paying security companies in the state of Florida. So,
I need a job.
I got you. You look like an EP agent. So being able to sit down and have transparent conversations with a lot of these people helped me to figure out what was the problem. And a lot of people migrated from different states. In this area, we're big on the season, March to October. Mm-hmm. And maybe 10 years ago, that was probably April to...
Right, you're getting more full season now. We see it in the industry.
So it's been a pleasure to, see that season extended because so many people depend upon it. So I think going through all those challenges, going through COVID out there, seeing how many people had lost their jobs, not just because of sickness, just because they lost their jobs, the business owners that they had in place couldn't keep the business running because nobody was showing up. Mm-hmm. Small businesses were traumatically affected. And I'm a small business owner. Mm-hmm. I've missed a payroll. I've gone months without getting a paycheck. I know what it feels like. I hear the invisible ghost ringing in my ears years ago that thank God I was able to get enough counseling and praying to get past. When you think you wake up, I don't want to look, or you're somewhere else and you think your phone's ringing because you're expecting trauma or expecting bad things to happen. It takes time to get through all those things. Yeah. So I think I finally had reached a position where, and I just finished up my doctorate in June, so I knew I couldn't take on anything else. So I wanted to finish up that, and once I finished that, I said, you know what? I looked around, and I said, you know what? I feel like I can give this. I still have something to give, and I wanted to give something bigger than just being in a for-profit company and being able to employ people, which all the companies will go on. But I wanted to be able to give again. I wanted to be in something that was bigger than me again. And I found myself thinking about politics. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to give it a try. I spoke to a lot of my colleagues and mentors. Trey, you sure? You ready? You ready? You want to do this? Why would you want to do this? I want to serve again. Yeah. I want to be able to give something. I know that when you see Elon Musk at the White House, that lets you know that no matter how far you go in for-profit business, you still need that side. So when you're seeing that, hey, no matter how much money you have, you still need the government's help. Well, man, what if we sent one of us over to the other side? How many more could we help? Because a lot of us are outside looking in and we're talking about that side. It's because we don't understand it.
Right.
So let me go see what it's about again. All right, I'm going to scout out. I'll be back. Mm-hmm. And you guys run this, and let me go figure out what this is about. And if it makes sense, and I can do it, then I'm gonna come back and get some more of y'all and say, hey brother, you should try to get into this. Hey
Right.
brother, you should go on school board. Hey brother, you should try to be a city manager. Hey brother, you should do this. Go talk to your local manager.
Amen.
And I think wanting bigger for us, because right now in politics, in just Senate, House, whole, political world, there's 13% veterans.
Right, and then we look at our founding fathers, and not only from the military, and there's another side to this, but I think there's like 70% served in some capacity in civil service or military.
Well, the big thing is our Constitution, this country was wrote on was by scientists and teachers and professors and doctors and the smartest people of our community. And unfortunately, now our government is ran by anybody that says they want to be a part of the government, and they don't have doctorines, and they're not professors, and they're not these people, and it shows on how we are affected by it. When this country was made, it was made on the backbone. They say, this is the backbone of the military. You've heard that term before, right? Well, it used to be these people were the backbone of America, and now we're getting run by the collarbones of America. You know what I mean? It's not the same thing, because what the law of America and our Constitution was wrote on by the most smartest people that were existing in that time. Yeah, they had problems, and there was this and that going on in that time period, but it was literally created by the smartest people of our time. And now we're allowing people that just went to college for 3 years to be into politics to run our country, and that is the problem. It's not it's not how they're doing it, it's who's doing it.
Well, it's also
because
what they're doing
I see a lot of people, I've seen a lot of soldiers do the wrong thing right, and it comes down to them. It doesn't come down to how they were trained.
But the ultimate goal is what Trey's wanting to do, is that
Absolutely,
we serve. If we serve God, which our Constitution, everything was based on, that we left England for a reason.
Yeah.
And we came here in order to live the service before self life. And so the Constitution was written that way. It's like, what can we do as a country to better the good of all? And so what you're doing,
Literally the definition of it.
We go to serve, and you're getting ready to take office because you want to serve the people.
Yeah.
Not the self-serving side that may be ghosted or looked at as like, I'm going to go serve you. As soon as they're in, the back's turned.
I have a lot.
And they're not doing what they said. The thing that they hate about Trump is he's done everything he said.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go do this some more. And why? I don't need money.
Yeah.
You put a businessman in charge of the White House. What did he do? He's going to make our country great, but he's going to make it great for us to go be able to do the things that we should be doing. Serve one another.
I couldn't agree more. Especially, he was able to get somebody to donate the money to pay the troops. And then they're backlashing him for it. I'm like,
130 million.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, he got the soldiers paid.
Well, you know what they're going to say is like, what favor did he get? What is he getting out of it, right? It's always like, because that's their mindset. It's not like, I want to protect this country. That's what I'm trying to do. This is why I try to create peace all around the country and all around the world.
Yeah.
Why? Because I want us to be a safe nation where I don't have to send your sons and daughters to go fight somebody else's war.
And die on a foreign land.
So before we dive deep in all that, because we could talk about that for hours, you got out of the military, got into your politics years later to find a new purpose in your life, to how to go, what's your purpose as a man, as a veteran, to better serve your community. You're here in this political position.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got amazing things that are on your agenda to help us as Floridians in the free state of Florida. I want to know how God put you in the position. When did he come to you and say, hey, this is your job now, or this is your purpose now? And how did he, through your relationship with him, bring you from those dark times in the military to these bright times in politics and the future that you're building for yourself?
Right. So right now, just for the record, November of 26 is the election
Yes.
cycle that you're going for.
Yeah, so the primary is in August and the general's in November.
We'll put the information on this YouTube
Yeah.
video. You guys,
So we're gonna-
Florida,
We're learning the reasons of why it's so important that you're going to be this 2nd District delegate.
Absolutely. And I'll answer your question too.
Yes, sir.
Because it was a specific time in Helmand Province when that happened. And it's actually a really good story. So I'll get to it. So one day I'm on program and I'm in Helmand Province, and I don't think I'm gonna make it. I call my mom and I let her know, Mom, I don't think I'm gonna make it home. Due to my condition and what's happening. The whole Trey, let's just pray. And I said, okay. And we prayed, and she kept going on. Hung up. Because I just felt it. I'd lost about 30 pounds. I was spending most of my time in my room, wasn't going to the gym anymore, getting chow, going straight back to the hooch. I just felt it. My body was weak. I tell people all the time, death is comfortable.
Did you know what condition you had?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you already knew this was
I already
coming,
knew.
or-
Yeah,
Okay.
I already knew because once I couldn't get my medication, and like I told you, it was about the greater good. I'll do whatever I have to do for the benefit of my children and my family and my tribe, and for the people around me to know that there's always a higher purpose.
So this is during the contract back time.
This is-
after you. Okay.
Yep. So this is during that time, and one day, we got some income in and a couple different other things going on, and I go to a tower out back because we're on a very small base, and I'm sitting there, and I get up in the tower, and I pull my gear off, and there's a milk crate up there, Mark 19, 50 cal. Nothing's happening back on the airfield side. I know this, and I was kind of raised to not question God. Why? And it was the first time I'd ever done it in my life. And I was just kind of crying out to God, and I said, God, why? Why me? I'm the youngest child of 6. None of my brothers and sisters have this. I'm out here trying to do the best that I can. Why me? And clear as day, he says, so I can control you. And I said, well, what do you mean? He says, look what I've given you. Everything that you wanted. Your children will be able to go to college for free. You're going to have medical for the rest of your life for that condition that you think is bad right now. You're going to be able to do things that you normally would not have been able to do, because this would have been my 19th year in the Army, and I wouldn't even be sitting with you guys.
Blessings in disguise.
All of the different boards and the people that I've been able to impact, and the people that I've been able to give employment to so that they can make a living for their families that may not have been able to find a job somewhere else. That's why. So on that day, I just kind of said, okay. And ever since then,
That's how you look back, though.
that's how I look back.
That day you weren't looking
That day,
way.
I was like, I said, you know what, God? I'm going to trust and believe you, because you pulled me out of so many dark places before that I'm going to walk by faith.
Yeah.
And I never looked back.
Amen.
And that just kind of can push me forward all the way up until now. When we look at, running for District 2, and I look at some of the things that, I've heard from the district, and went out and talked to a lot of constituents, talked to a lot of the RECs. I went around and visited everybody. And it's truly a great place to live. I think some of the things that they're concerned about match what I'm concerned about. Schools, being able to have a living once you get out of school, your children's being able to live here, economy, small business owners, bureaucracy, red tape. I know all that. Car insurance, property tax.
Insurance is one of the things, knowing what it costs to do business here. And I don't own a home here.
Yeah.
I own this property.
Yeah.
And I know how hard it is to get insurance.
Yeah, absolutely. The zone, all kinds of different things that are just extremely difficult, for the American trying to really get after it. And sometimes there's a lot of money behind these people, and they're met with screeching tires, or hey, we'll get back to you in a month, we'll get back to you in 3 weeks. And it really slows down and affects people's, way forward a lot of times, especially if they have investors, or, if there's a code issue or zoning, you know what I mean? All this different stuff, a lot of different issues. So getting to the point where I wanted to run, the deciding factor was when my daughter's school, which is down in Tallahassee, FSU, they had a school shooter. And, I was like, this is getting really close to home. And clear as day, I felt like God says, this is why I gave you these skills.
Amen.
I'm not going to say I'm the guy forever, but I'm the guy we need right now.
Amen.
All of the issues that are happening in this country are security related. You have politicians from the president being shot at, legislators in Milwaukee being killed. You have young men and women going out to colleges using their freedom of speech that me and my brothers and sisters went out there and sweat and dripped our blood and sweat tears for them to be able to do.
Amen.
And being killed.
Right.
When you're causing harm to nobody, I can't stand for that. I made a promise to the people that went before me to make this opportunity for me to be here, that if this ever happened and the way of life was ever challenged and I was a willing, able, and body, that I would stand up again. So that's all this is. I'm willing and able. I got time. I'm 37. God's given me the ability to get extremely educated. He put some great people in my life. I don't know it all. I don't want to know it all. I want to be a useful tool for the time that's necessary. And when my time is up, my time is up. But I think for right now, I know how to bring together a community. And it's the same way you bring together a platoon, a team, a squad.
Brother, you got my a 100% vote just off the last 60 seconds that you preached up here, but
Yeah.
I mean that. Like, that is
Yeah, I appreciate
some of the
that.
most honorable things I've ever heard anybody running for your spot that's been said.
Yeah, and it's a difficult, people tell me, I tell people all the time, listen, the biggest part of the job is representative, state representative. My job as a leader is to go forth and tell the leadership what my platoon wants. I find it to be easy. It's a transfer of information. I shouldn't feel embarrassed about it. I shouldn't be fearful about it. I shouldn't feel any type of way. And I'm somebody that stood on the carpet before. I've had that hand slap. I know the experiences left and right. I know that you have to bend in this world to make things happen sometimes. All I ask for is that either you don't have to like everything I do, but I ask you to always be able to respect what I do because you know what my guiding light principles are.
Well, there's other part is that there is a true majority everywhere and with everything.
Yeah.
And as a representative for that area that you're taking on, you should represent the majority.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people live here. There's a reason people do business here. There's a reason they want to raise their kids here.
Absolutely.
So the voices that need to be heard are the ones that really want. Now again, some people have ulterior motives and they always will.
Yeah, for sure.
But the majority of why we live here, we all have the same thoughts and the same reasons. And it's everywhere else in the country. There's certain things that take precedent in certain parts of the country, and that's the reason people move there.
Yep.
So when you are representing me and your constituents in this area, listen to the loudest.
Yeah.
And the others will either understand why you're doing it, because you're doing it for the heart of the heart.
Yeah.
You're doing it for God's servanthood, God's purpose, and the reason that you want, for me, I'm speaking for you just a little bit, but I understand that the betterment of our society happens because you're willing to serve them.
I love my children.
And you want them to be safe. You want them to have the same ability that you have.
Exactly. And, I when somebody asks me, sometimes when people say, what are you doing this for? I'm like, I love my kids. And I'm willing to go out there and do the unfavorable thing to make sure that they're okay. And I know that majority of people want what I want for my kids.
100%.
So if that is aligned, you don't have to worry about me muddying the waters. You don't have to worry about me bringing shame to my name because my kids are going to have to walk in my shadow forever. Mm-hmm. And guess what? They may not be as sharp as dad. They may not get these opportunities like dad.
Well, they may be sharper than dad.
They may be sharper than dad.
But you know what? You set a precedent of what it looks to have strong character and hold value.
Amen.
Exactly. And
the best of the best, actually.
And I want them to know that it's okay to, sometimes you're going to have to walk alone because the crowd doesn't understand you. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the things in this job. Sometimes you may have to walk alone in the job because the crowd won't understand you. They may not understand it January 1st, but by December 31st, like, oh wow, I get it now. I've experienced that. The U-turn where people are like, oh, that worked. You know, just like we've experienced with President Trump. Like, oh, that didn't sound too, oh, okay, I see what's going on. You know what I mean? With the tariffs thing. Like, oh, we're going to be able to get this much money back in. You know, there's things that as a businessman, you think of, you can look at the micro or you can look at the macro. And sometimes you have to zoom out and be able to say, I know this could hurt right now, but long term, it's going to work out better for us. Because if you're thinking right now, you're thinking about yourself. And if you can expand it out to say, you know what? Well, sir, what year do we break even? Oh, well, we're going to break even in a year. And then after that, we're going to start seeing an incline gradually. Okay, well, then it's going to work out. Yeah, we're going to go through some rumbles at first. And some people may not like it. And that's why the shutdown, I believe, is, you know, traumatically affecting people in a negative way, because when you have something that comes in and affects your game plan and it causes you to have to pivot, sometimes you don't have enough time to pivot and you just have to use the restraints that you have. And that's where you see good people coming in and saying, hey, brother, I see what you're doing. Let me donate to the troops because we don't need our troops going out without food. Right. Hey, let me be able to see this, because what other president has had that much money donated? Never seen it.
Never.
So and those are the issues that people don't want. You don't want your military. You don't want your federal workers. You don't want your TSA workers going without paycheck. Why? Because it makes them highly susceptible to foreign entities. How many things have we dealt with in the sky? Some of the biggest in this nation.
Yeah, right.
So now we don't want to pay those guys that are there to check to make sure that something doesn't come through. What happens when that guy and gal is more susceptible to getting their kids' tuition paid for because they don't want to face the embarrassment because they're the only one in their neighborhood?
Right.
What happens when, you know, that person gets furloughed and says they got to go home and their son or daughter looks up at them and is like, Dad, you're not going to work? And they have to embarrassingly say, son, I got let go and it wasn't my fault. That's embarrassing. That's a weight that we're putting on Americans, and I think that's starting to get to the equivalent what soldiers feel like when they're getting out. It's heavy. The economy is already going through its struggles.
Yeah, especially right now.
Yeah.
I mean, when we got out, wasn't hard, but it wasn't easy.
No.
Today's world is just hard. It's just pure hard. Ain't no easy about it.
Exactly.
Easiest part's getting out.
Half the college students feel like they're telling college students, hey, some of these degrees that you're in right now ain't even going to matter.
Right.
Well, again, I have a whole take on that we can get into too, and I would hope that down the road maybe you and I could.
Absolutely.
The entrepreneur mind should always be available.
Yes.
We've taken that away from our youth because
I got to step away again, guys. You're right there.
Because we have said that you have to go to college to be successful.
So not true.
And I didn't go to college to be successful. I had the opportunity to go and then failed that based on getting arrested.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that my entrepreneurial spirit that started when I was 4, 8, why? Because I was raised by an entrepreneurial family, that I saw that I would work hard. I'd work 80, 100 hours just like them. But when I wanted to do something, I was going to be able to do it. Yeah. And nobody was going to tell me that I couldn't do it. But it also gave me the opportunity to have a lot of people around me because my company would employ and work with people, and then I'd have plenty of families around me. And I would build my own team, and I'd build my own world around that, right? I am a big proponent for, some people know what they want to do. Yeah. And the world's telling them that they should do X, Y, Z, right? Because you're going to make so much money, do this, and this. 4 years from now, it's going to be something different.
Absolutely.
So we need to teach them to be what drives them and they have passion for. I'm very much a proponent for every person should go through some kind of 1 year or 2 year service program. Civil service, get them out in the world that the world's not teaching them. Yeah. So that you can go and be the best you. Because then you're going to find out, look, I like doing this. I thought I was going to do this because my parents said I would be good at that. And, you know, some of these degrees that never translate into work anyway, you know, these arts degrees and different things. You may have a passion or a thought that you want to do that, but you're not going to make money doing it, which means that you're not going to have peace, to have freedom to be able to enjoy the part of the life that matters the most. So I'm a big, not only the civil service or a service side to it, or, I mean, we had to do community service. I went to DeMatha, a Catholic school.
Yeah.
We had to do community service. I don't know if every school is requiring it. It should be required because you're giving of yourself to somebody else to fill their needs, not yours.
Yeah.
But I believe that we should start really heavy processing 6-month, 1-year vocational technical programs back so that we can, not everybody is college bound, and college would not do most people well. But these vets that came back, I could get them back home. A friend of mine started a program at UMBC doing cybersecurity and initial electrical, cognitive class per se. 6-month process. Now we weren't doing huge lighting projects. We were swapping lights out, taking traditional lighting, put in LED lighting. Some of them would advance and go learn some more so I could teach them breaker work and wire work and different things that we do. But they'd come through that program, $35, $40 an hour come out. You tell me how many people that are going to college, getting in debt over $100,000 are out the box at $35, $40 an hour. And I think that if we really taught fiduciary responsibility, which is that's why I shook your hand, because you did it all on your own.
Yeah.
But you know why? Because somebody taught you that you didn't want, well, maybe God did, maybe your parents did.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in that spot again that I saw my parents after they worked all their lives and worked all that hard for somebody else to take something from me.
Yeah.
So how would you help that situation? How can you teach?
So one of the biggest things that I want to do, getting my mind expanded, I was the vice chair of the International Trade Council down in Miami Beach for about 3-4 years. So I wanted to get a little bit more experience for expanded on business things. That really did a lot. And then I started doing other business around the whole globe, actually, as I started to become more known as a security professional, so forth and so on. But looking at this area, to me, it's like, okay, I see what we have. And I think before we start to look out, we need to look in. Mm-hmm. So one, I want to take the district and say, hey, this is the platoon. What skills and abilities do we have in the room? Okay, just like, Trump wants to make America great again, I want to make District 2 great again. Mm-hmm. And I want to not, like he wants to use all USA stuff, well, I want to use District 2 stuff. Because we have to worry about the survivability of the village. And if the village can't survive, then that means we have to bring in outside people, and therefore we're taking away opportunities from the people that live there. Mm. So I want to partner up and bring in different companies, different entities, which there's so many nonprofits, so many different companies that are owned by regular people right here. Let me hear about it. There's so many. If you are willing to stand up and you're willing to speak out, and I call for, I'm thinking about calling it listening sessions, where we sit down and we hear what the majority of people are doing and the minority. What businesses do you guys offer? What businesses can you run? What services can you bring? And let's figure out what we can do here. That way, you remember that feeling back when you were growing up as a kid and you kind of knew if somebody saw you way on the other side of town, it would still get back to your mom and dad? That kind of feeling. Mm-hmm. Hey, well, so-and-so's dad can give you a job. So-and-so's dad can give you this. So-and-so's mom can give you this. If we can bring it back to that level and to build out from there, and then once we've reached a point of, hey, listen, we've tapped all our resources, we need to start bringing in outside entities to further advance this. Let's do it.
Right.
So I love where you're heading with that. I was at a meeting with economic development, the head of economic development for the county here, and he's pushing, right? There's a narrative that they need to push to. And I said, well, so me as a businessman here that has 11 acres that want to develop this property for the betterment of our community, not only, from a mixed-use retail, we're already in the service-based side. What do you have to help me? Because he was telling about this $10, $12 million they had set aside what they're looking to do, and then, you know, again, the matching grant program, different things that are out there.
Yeah.
I said, but how can you help me as a small businessman that's willing, you know, I sold all my assets to come down here to do this because this is home now.
Absolutely.
And I want this property to be known for what we do. He was so tied into that, he was new to the position, and this is what he brought in to do. Tech, aerospace, and one other thing, but none of it had to do with the resources, like you said. What does the community need, and what do the people that live in the community have the ability to contribute if you have something to help them?
Yeah.
And it was like, it just went back to, for me, government, downtown said, this is what we want to do in order to improve our footprint so that people outside could come here.
Yeah.
And I like what you're saying is like, but we already are a community.
There's a lot of buzzword things that a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of pressure on some people in positions for these big buzzwords, tech, and, you know, so forth and
Cyber
so
and
on. And that's where a lot of the grant money is, unfortunately. You know, it's not for, hey, well, I want to go develop this. And then it's like, well, how do I even get it? You know what I mean? Do I stand anywhere in competition against some of these people that can go afford a $100,000 grant writer? You know what I'm saying? Like, that might be my EBITDA for the year. You know, so it's just like...
Been doing this decade, never had a grant.
Exactly.
So they're the hardest thing to get.
It really is. And most people that have these organizations can't afford them. Or if, you know, they do write it, they want to get a percentage back, which is okay.
And that's
even the
fine.
grant writers that want to donate their time,
Yeah.
still want a donation back. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you ain't got to pay us, but when it's done, I need $10,000.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're here to help people. Like, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, government contracting, a lot of the
Well,
way you have
listen,
to go
guys,
in government contracting.
And I'm okay with it to a degree because, you know, I look at it as they have a skill set. You know, these could be a veteran too. It could be a person. As long as I'm being able to be a blessing to them, and they can offer a skill
they're like a staff position. They're they're write-offs in order for you, because if you didn't have that, then you wouldn't be able to employ and move forward. But
exactly.
the idea of just having specific, what, you know, this umbrella that downtown thinks that we are as a community, and now you are Escambia and Santa Rosa,
Yes.
right? So that's District 2.
That's District 2.
Okay. So I'm only speaking Escambia right now, so I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, Escambia County, unfortunately. Unfortunately, right?
I'm very fortunate.
I love our police force around here. They're probably one of the funniest, most genuine guys around. The guys that are running around.
Great people.
You know, this is like everything. Not every veteran's good. Not every business owner's good. Not every cop's good. You know, everybody's got a bad guy in their group.
Every organization.
Before we bring this up to a wrap, well, I think we've been going about 2 hours now. What's some advice, not only as a veteran or as a Christian and as a future politician of, you know, the South? What's some advice you would give in those categories to our veterans that are getting out, to maybe some of our baby Christians that want to learn the word, and to somebody that's a civilian or a veteran that wants to chase that political trail?
To my veterans getting out, reach out to your brothers and sisters. There's a camera there. Reach out to your brothers and sisters that have gotten out. Now, I've had E9s not reach out to staff sergeants, E5s, E4s, E3s, because, you know, while you're in, you can't really do that.
Yeah.
Once you're out, some of these guys and girls are surpassing where you are right now.
They're senior officers, yeah.
So don't feel away like, or embarrassed that, oh man, I'm a sergeant first class, I'm a master sergeant, I can't be reaching out to no E4, even though you see him or her doing well. Your pride is just so strong that you just want to make them feel like you got it together. Nobody has it together.
Right. Amen.
Be okay not having it together and throwing it at the wall and being able to see what sticks and taking that to your brothers and sisters and saying, hey, I need some help.
That's right.
This is what I've tried. Oh man, I tried that already. You're going the long way. Let me show you how to do this. So sometimes it's just about losing the ego and realizing you don't have what you don't have, but it doesn't mean that somebody isn't willing to give you what they have. And a lot of times that's lessons learned, and that's time. Don't look for a handout. still come out here, hit hammers, be willing to trench it, be willing to do the hard thing, and I promise you, surround yourself with good people, and the chances of you succeeding are dramatically increased.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Two are the baby Christians. Find a good Bible-based church. Find you a good Bible-based church. Go to every
Bible-based. You remember, listen, the key word in that is a Bible-based church.
Yes.
It is not a church. It is not, you are not going to see the preacher. You are not going to sit next to your family. You are going to a Bible-based church. And I think that is very important, and that makes me just more even proud of you for saying that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to also add, the other point is, God says we are the church.
Yeah.
We are the church. And you don't have to go to church to find God. But if you're a baby
I'm
Christian,
not gonna,
you're one
we won't go down that route
road.
again. But I truly believe that if people understood the way that the body of the church exists is because we are the church. So God calls on us.
People that have a problem with the church, it's 99.99% of the time, it's the people of the church.
It's the
not
people
the
of
church.
the church.
It's not the gospel, it's not the word, it's not the script.
Just like
It's
you
the
said,
people.
every organization's got its bad
It's
apples.
got a bad apples.
There's
you know?
there isn't one that doesn't have it. So, and I would say don't let that deter you. There's a home out here for each and every one of you. Shop around.
Here at Wednesday mornings at Warrior Beer Company, we have a
9
men's
a.m.
group.
we have a men's
And
study.
eventually we'll do a women's group as well that we're looking
Well, I think
for.
that's really close to happening too.
So,
So announcement coming up soon. But
Yeah.
And lastly, I would say to my veterans that want to get into politics, do it.
Do it.
Nothing else. Do it.
yeah.
You can do it.
Drew.
You
Everybody
can do
point.
it.
Everybody
You
point at
ever,
Drew.
Drew,
Everybody point at Drew.
You can do it.
you have the opportunity to give of yourself so that the betterment of the community. So you're doing, again, exactly what you did while you served.
Yeah.
The reason why you served. You do it.
Selfless service.
It's what fills my cup.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoy being able, that's why I'm in security. I enjoy being able to, you know, protect people. I enjoy being able to make them feel protected and like so they can enjoy themselves. I was the guy that people would be like, hey, Matt, can you come with us? Because I'm going to get madder at you if you mess with one of my friends rather than you mess with me.
Yeah.
I'm
amen.
like, it's not that, like, whatever, but let you mess with Gary.
Yeah.
Let you mess with
We know we can protect ourselves.
Yeah.
But as our civilian friends,
Exactly.
you don't know what they're capable of
You don't
unless
know.
you grew up with them. You
Exactly.
know.
So being able to be a protector, being able to serve the country, and I think a lot of us when we joined the military, we had this idea that when we went to go serve our country, it would be felt in our community. And that's not necessarily
It
true.
doesn't.
It doesn't relate over. So being
And
able to
it does in some communities.
It does. It
And
does.
it does in a lot of ones that take pride in you going to serve.
Yeah.
And it goes to a lot of small town. It goes right here. I mean, there's a small town mentality to Pensacola too.
Absolutely.
So when you go and somebody comes back, they appreciate that you did what you did.
Oh yeah, I would say, you know, that all feels great, you know, but being able to see the change, like, man, is this war I'm fighting, is what I'm going through all these days away, is it affecting back home on the micro level? You don't really see it as much as you do on the macro level because you're protecting the country,
Yeah.
you know, the country as a whole. So being able to come back and do something that is directly seen in your community is a gift.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a blessing for anybody to be put in one of those positions, and they should take it with the highest, you know, form of gratitude that, hey, we're choosing you to be the guy or gal to go out there and to lead us.
Amen. And so the people that want to see you as a future leader, our
Yeah.
viewers, how can they follow you? Is there
Yeah.
a website? You have
Absolutely.
a Facebook?
So you can check out my website. It's my name, so www.trei, TreimMcMullen.com, so TreiMcMullen.com. You can follow me on Instagram, Trei McMullen FL, and you can also follow me on Twitter, T McMullen FL as well. So I look forward to seeing you guys on one of those platforms, and feel free to engage with me. You can give me a call. I look forward to talking with you. I look forward to hearing about things that you need. People ask me, Trey, what do you want to do? This is not what Trey wants to do. This is what do you want me to go tell these people and to do for you.
And when does open voting start for you?
August.
So August, look for Trey. And what we're going to do is I'll get with you before we get out of here tonight, and I'll get that information for the description on the video. That way they're led in the right direction on things.
Yeah. So we're going to end this, and I want to do two things. Jacob's going to end this in prayer, because we're going to pray for you and pray for this walk that you're in right now. But for our viewers, and they can obviously go to Trei McMullen, what you just spoke of, just in your heart of heart, I know there's 5 points that you really want our community to understand that you're about. Just share that umbrella statement of like, how is Trei McMullen going to serve this community?
How I plan to serve the community is by 1, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Coming and sitting down with each and every one of you that I can and that are willing to have me. Showing up when it's not just unicorns and rainbows for all these parties and all these events. I want to be out in the community. If you got issues in your neighborhood, if you got issues in your community, if you got issues, you want to see the state representative out anywhere, let me know. I would love to come out and support you in any way that I can. I want you to touch and be able to feel your leadership. I want you to be able to know that I'm not above you, I'm not below you, I'm beside you.
Amen.
And I also want you to know that as much as you need me, I need you. I am not just a man out here alone. I am a man of the people. So it takes the people to be able to encourage me, to continuously give me a purpose, even when sometimes we don't necessarily know what the purpose is. Continue to pray for your leaders. Continue to pray for your people that you're putting in these elected positions, because it doesn't matter who you are. You can be the biggest truth teller. The media is now entertainment. So I need you to make sure you keep us uplifted in prayer. And to know this, all candidates, no matter, it doesn't need to get ugly. You know what I'm saying? I think this is a great honor to be able to sit in front of men and women and to be able to try to obtain this seat. So there's no reason for bad mouthing. That's not where I come from. That's not what we do. And there's a lot of veterans on the card. So, I look forward to seeing each and every one of those brothers going out there and doing what they do, and may the best man or woman win. Whoever is the best for the community.
I'm glad you said that, because, so somebody else said, again, one to step up to the call, my friend Jason Coffey.
Yeah.
I work out at Larry Downs with him.
Yeah.
The same thing. He just saw there's a failure in this community right now.
Absolutely.
To honor those that are living here.
Definitely. I talked with Jason this morning. His wife actually went into surgery today.
Surgery. Yeah.
So make sure you say a prayer for her.
Amen.
For her speedy recovery and everything that he's chasing as he continues on in this candidate race.
And that's and again, I believe that we are people, and people need to know who we are and exactly everything about it.
Absolutely.
And the smear campaign I watched over in Orange Beach and Gulf Shores, it was so ugly.
Yeah.
For candidates that were loving, both Tony Kanaan and Mayor Kraft, both friends of mine, doing the best they can for that community and have made that community exactly what they are. To have somebody try to smear them instead of looking at exactly what they've done. And honoring them as that person. And if that's how you think you can win, then you're a failure in yourself already.
Yeah.
So go out and do the work, put your time in, put the effort in, go out and meet your constituents.
Exactly.
And allow them to make a choice. Is this guy going to honor his word?
Absolutely.
And I can tell you right now, I've sat here with you. We talked a little bit before, and again, you came from another channel, the Networking Effect, Scott Manthorn, and he said you gotta meet Trey, and I'm.
He's got 2 votes right here. I know that.
Yeah, he's got it, buddy. I'm so grateful that you came on the show and shared your heart and shared the truth. And I learned a long time ago. My grandfather said within 5 minutes of somebody knowing somebody, you'll figure out if you want to do business or not, because God places that in your heart. And I can tell you right now, you're an honorable, great person. I'm glad that I met you, and I hope that we can help you get across the line.
I appreciate that.
Amen.
Jake, if you want to close us in some prayer?
Absolutely.
All right, you got to do it like this.
That's the only way I know how to do it. More than 2 are touching and agreeing.
Amen.
That's right.
We done courted this.
We we come to you tonight, Lord, through your prayer and through your power, and we ask you to protect Trey and give him the armor of your Father, our Lord God. Protect him on his path as he serves others that are in our community, and give him the strength through his trials and tribulations to not only climb those mountains, but stand tall at the top in your honor. Let him spread the word through your word to better build a better district, a better Florida, a better way of life for Americans and for our future veterans and future children. Protect him, protect us, and protect your word, protect your script and your truth, and let it be said through every man's lips and every man's tongue and every woman's and child's. And just remind us on a daily basis that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to get outside your comfort zone through your word and through your scripture. We come to you in the most humble and honorable love that we have for you in your prayer, in your service, and in your name we pray, amen. Thank you, Trey, for your trials, and we have your six on this, 100%. Whatever you need from Operation Tackle Box or Warrior Beer Company, you come to us, and we'll do everything that we can to make it happen.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for joining us and
Thank
watching
you so
this.
much for joining tonight.
And we will, as always, share, like, and subscribe. I'm going to put Mr. Trey's info down here, and Gary's and myself's. And if there's anything that we can do better or that you think that Trey should tap into on his run for politics, comment below and tag him. Go to his website, get in touch with him. I'm sure he has an email. They can contact you through there.
Trey.McMullen@gmail.com.
Yes, sir. And we'll tag that as well. But we appreciate your time as always, guys. This is episode number 7. Co-host here, Gary. We're definitely going to do a part 2. I was actually, when we ended this, I was going to come like, we got to do a part 2 of Trey. So let's maybe after, November?
Yeah.
Yeah, so even if, winner, lose.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We know who we are. So let's come back here and let's round it up. So.
Yeah.
I think we'll have him as we lead into the spring and as we help
Yes, sir.
him. We'd love to have you back and let us know how you're doing and what you can do to help us.
Hey, Trey, through him, all things are possible.
He's always bigger than all my problems.
That's right. Bigger than any problem any man's ever had.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. God bless you, brother.
Cheers. Good.
Hey, y'all got to lead over here, you big tall guys.
Yeah, absolutely.